Welcome to Let's Roger That. I'm Jill. Today I've got an interesting project to work on. A customer has come into the shop and has asked me to make a custom-made injector adapter in order to check the compression in an old Ducati inboard engine, model number DM184. These things were made about 50 years ago. I don't know how long. Honestly, they were made a long time ago. Companies that made them in the United States have long gone. There's no parts, no tools, no accessories for these things. So I was just brought a basic drawing. I'll show you a representation of it. And then a couple of parts so to guide me along. Essentially, this is a check valve that will allow the compression ratio to be checked using one of these. And so I've got to replicate, actually come up with an actual design that will fit. This here actually sits on the cylinder part that needs to be checked for the injector. And the part that I'm making is going to be captured in this and held on to the engine in that fashion. So I'm going to be making this out of 1018 steel. I'll give you all the dimension on the drawing, and so let's go. First thing that needs to be done here, we'll cut a piece of round stock. The nominal dimensions are 4.5 inches. I'm cutting it at 4 5/8. Just give myself some room to play. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is face this side, flip it around, face the other side, bring it to size. It's not a complicated process. Just take your time and do it right. Put a little chamfer at the end. There we go. Alright, now it's time to flip it around and work from the other side. For now I need to measure this for exact measurements. Alright, I've got my measuring done, and I've scribed a line with my height gauge. It's exactly at 4.5. I've given myself about 5/1000ths of an inch to play with. I've got a stop here for my saddle. Alright, that's done. Now I need to drill through this thing with a letter R drill bit in order to tap the threads. So here we go. It's going to be a bit of a dilemma simply because the bits to that size, they can't really go all the way through. So we'll see how I can manage doing this. Just for example, this first bit, 1/4 inch, is about 2 3/4. That's all we're going to get out of this one. But the only thing that's critical about this is the threads at the one end that has to be machined. So we can always drill from the other side. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, we're set up for a different bit. Go up a couple of sizes. Here comes the next one. That's a letter R. It's not that far from 1/4 inch, so shouldn't have any problems here. Switch this around, put the tailstock back, and start this exact same process again, but from the other side. Alright, bring it back. Okay, so I've drilled from the other side. I've got a hole right through. I flipped it back to the side that we need to do the tapping on, and I'm just going to put a little bit of chamfer to give a chance for my tap to get in and do its job. Need a lot, but it's nice to have it because it really makes your job easy. So that's a great little trick if you're about to do some tapping. Okay, I don't have a pointed tip for my tap pullover, so I'm gonna deal with what we got. Move this aside, put it in back gear just so that we can work. Lots of oil, of course. Lock the tailstock, apply some pressure on that spring. There we go, we're in the spot that we want to be. Alright, lock the tailstock, and now it's time to work. Now this is a tapered thread because injector adapters use air pressure. Quick look, and that looks lovely. Okay, so this is 1-inch stock, and I just remembered I got to bring it down to 903 thousandths of an inch. So we got to carve out 97 thousandths out of it over the whole length. And I'm just going to do sort of half and then do the other side. I mean, the external dimensions are just nominal, so we're not talking about critical anything here, right? So let's set up the longitudinal. There we go. All right, that should do the trick. Ready to roll. As you can see, I've got my dividing head in there just simply because I'm dealing with a round stock, easier to hold it. Now what I've got to do is mill down 3/4 of an inch and then flat on each side, right? So 3/4 of an inch in depth and 173 thousandths from the edge of the diameter, circumference, into it, right? So, and then it'll fit in that clamp that I showed you earlier. So that's what I'm doing now. Let's go. Going in 30 thousandths at a time. There's no rush here. Conventional milling. Using a Niagara 1/2 inch end mill carbide. Fantastic end mill. Honestly, you get what you pay for. Don't ever hesitate to pay what those things cost because it is worth it. All right, last pass. I'm on target. Trying to sound like a guy from Star Wars on the X-Wings. Still target! Red flag, red flag. Okay. Now I gotta set up, go on the other side. Same thing, different side. Here we go. Last pass. And that should be it. So now what I need to do is bring that clip and try it on. That's going to go like this. Perfect fit. Nice. And there we have it, folks. This is a injector adjuster, and all you do is take this valve here, put that in there, a little Teflon around, make sure there's no leak, and then the customer is going to take that, insert that into the orifice that needs to go into, put that in here, and there's 2 bolts sticking up from the motor. He'll clamp that down and do his compression test from there. So rather a nice fit. So it's loose enough, but perfect fit really. This is what you get when you go, say, plus or minus 5 thousandths of an inch, right? So voila. Hope you enjoyed the show. Take care, folks. Bye-bye. Oh, and please like and subscribe. Cheers.